Hello students, today we will be dealing with the questions of NCERT class 10 and the chapter is metals and non-metals. So let's begin with the questions and the very first question is given as so this is the question, which of the following pairs will give displacement reactions, and options are given as follows. Now as we know that in the displacement reaction a more reactive element displaces a low reactive element from its compound. So as we talk about the very first option, that is NaCl solution and copper metal. Now as we know from the metal reactivity series that out of sodium and copper the more reactive metal is sodium. So if we want this copper to displace sodium from its compound, that is NaCl, here it is not possible, and that is why this reaction will not be possible, result in no reaction. Now as we move forward for the second reaction, here we can see that in the options we are having two metals. The one is magnesium and the second one is aluminium. Again, out of these two the more reactive element is magnesium, that is why it cannot displace magnesium from its compound, result in again the same result we will be finding, that is no reaction. Now let's move for the third option, that is here the comparison is between iron and silver. Again, the iron being more reactive element cannot be displaced by silver. Now if we go forward for the fourth one, that is the comparison between the silver and the copper. Now as from the metal reactivity series we know that this copper is more reactive. Being more reactive, it can easily displace silver from its compound. So if we make this silver nitrate react with this copper metal, resultant due to the displacement reaction, this copper will displace silver from its compound, result in the formation of cuprous nitrate, that is cupric nitrate, that is CuNO3 whole twice, and the formation of silver as the precipitate occurs here. So here it's the only option where the displacement reaction can occur, and the correct answer for the first question is option number D. So let's move forward for the second one. Now, the second question is given to us as which of the following methods is suitable for preventing an iron frying pan from rusting. Now, as we know, iron when comes in the contact of moist air, it becomes rusted due to the formation of hydrated ferric oxide. It can be prevented when we stop this iron. If we prevent this iron in coming in contact with moist air, it can be easily prevented from rusting. So By applying grease, we cannot allow this moist air to come in contact with iron, so it can be prevented from rusting by the option number first, by option A. Now, if we talk about the second option, by applying paint, again it can prevent iron to come in contact with moist air, so it can be the correct method to prevent iron from the rusting. So it can also be the correct option. The third option is given to us as apply a coating of zinc. By applying a coating of a more reactive metal, this iron can easily be prevented from the process of oxidation, because in that condition, the more reactive metal that we are coating on iron will participate in the process of oxidation. So here zinc will participate in the process of oxidation, and this helps in the prevention of rusting. This prevention of rusting by the help of zinc is termed as galvanization. So this is again the correct option. And finally, as the option D includes all these three, so here the correct option for the correct answer for this question is option D. That is the correct answer for this one. Now let's move forward for the next question. So that's our next question. And in the question, we are provided to guess about an element which reacts with oxygen to give a compound with high melting point. Now, if we talk about the very first option, this calcium. So this calcium, when reacts with oxygen, resulted in the formation of calcium oxide. And being ionic in nature, this compound has a very high melting point. So this can be the correct option here. Now, if we go for the further language, this is given as this compound is also soluble in water. So when this calcium oxide is made to react with water due to the formation of calcium hydroxide, we can say that this is soluble in water. So this element can be calcium. If you go for the next options, here the next option is given as carbon. So this carbon, when made to react with oxygen according to the question, this should give a compound with a very high melting point. But as we know that when this carbon reacts with oxygen, the formation of carbon monoxide or carbon dioxide can take place, and both exist in the gaseous state even at room temperature, so they are not having very high melting point, so this cannot be the correct option. If you move for the next option, this silicon, when made to react with oxygen, formation of silica, that is SiO2 takes place, but this compound is not soluble in water. So since this option C does not follow the that does not follow the second statement, that is why this cannot be the correct option here. Now, if we talk about the D option, that this iron, when made to react with oxygen, it gives the compound that is iron oxide. That also has the very high melting point, but this iron oxide is also not soluble in water. So here, the option that is correct choice here, that the option that is the correct answer here is only A, and that is the correct answer here. Now, let's move for the next question. So the next question is given to us as food cans are coated with tin and not with zinc, because the options are given as zinc is costlier than tin, but that cannot be the appropriate reason for the coating of tin, not zinc, because cost doesn't matter when we are going to make a useful thing. So, in the choice of or in the search of a more appropriate option, let's move for the option number B. That is, zinc has higher melting point than tin. Now, this statement is again correct. Zinc has the melting point approximate 491.5 degrees centigrade, while tin has the lesser melting point than this, that is 231.93 degrees centigrade. So the statement is correct, but as we are asked for the reason that why this is coated with tin only, not with zinc. So according to this, this cannot be the correct option again, because in the food case we are going to store food, not for the going for the heating of food. So here we need not to increase the temperature this much, so this much that is just because of temperature we need to coat this with tin and not with zinc. Now, if we go for the third option, that is zinc is more reactive than tin. So that can be the appropriate reason here, because as we are going to store food in this food cans, so zinc being more reactive, it can easily react with the food stored in the can, and that is why in order in order to prevent this food reacting with this material, we coat this with a lesser reactive metal, that is tin. So the correct option is option number C here, and that is the answer for this question. So let's begin with the subjective questions of class 10 NCRT chapter metals and non-metals. And the very first subjective question is, we are provided with a hammer, a battery, a bulb, wires and switch. And we are asked that how can we use these materials to distinguish between metals and non-metals. Now as we know, metals are good conductor of electricity and non-metals are insulative. So we can make a circuit by using this battery, bulb, switch and wires. And the circuit will be like this. This is the sample that we want to judge whether it's a metal or not. That's the sample here. And as we connect this circuit by using a bulb here, that's a bulb here. Now as we complete the circuit and put on the switch here, and this bulb starts glowing, this proves that the sample is the conductor, that this sample is a good conductor of electricity here. And as we know that metals are good conductor of electricity, here we can judge that this sample is made up of a metal. Now, opposite to this, if this bulb doesn't glow, means the circuit is not complete here due to the presence of this sample, which is not conductor here. And if this bulb doesn't glow, so we can judge that this sample is insulator of electricity, that is only non-metal here. So that is the answer for this first part of this question. Now let's move forward for the second part of this question, that is given as. So the next part is given as access the usefulness of this test and distinguish between metals and non-metals. So as we can find here that if the bulb starts glowing, this proves that the sample is metal. That is the usefulness of this experiment. That with the help of this experiment, we can come to know whether the metals are good conductor of electricity or not. So that is the usefulness of this. And now let's move forward for the next part of this question. The next question. In the question, we are asked to define the amphoteric oxide. How can we identify them? And we are asked to give two examples also for these amphoteric oxides. Now, this amphi word indicates both. It has the meaning both. So, those oxides which shows both acidic and basic behavior are termed as amphoteric oxides. Being acidic, when these oxides are made to react with the base, they can easily react with them. And being basic also, when these are made to react with acid, they can easily react. So these amphoteric oxide can easily react with the acids as well as with base. The examples for these amphoteric oxides are the oxide of aluminium, that is Al2O3, also known as alumina, the oxide of zinc with the formula ZnO, the oxide of beryllium, that is BeO, and the oxide of tin with the formula SnO. So these are some examples of amphoteric oxide, and out of these four we can select any two to explain this question. So that is about some questions of this chapter. Now the rest questions of this chapter we will be dealing in our next part.